we're live.
All right. Good morning. It's Friday. You've put that song in my head now.
Yeah, I regret doing it.
It's the Pete Braley Show, show number 9. Good morning. Happy Friday. I'm Pete Braley, along with my son, Matt Braley.
Yes, sir.
And, he started, he posted, it's Friday, and that got... Well, I suppose that's better than, did we get Baby Shark planted in your head yesterday?
Well, especially after I finally got him to watch the Josh Groban one. So
yeah. Go on YouTube after this show, of course, and search for Baby Shark.
James Corden. And it'll come up.
Yeah, and it is James Corden along with, I can't remember her name.
Sophie Turner.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sophie Turner from Game of Thrones, and then Josh Groban singing Baby Shark. And my reaction to it is, it was really weird.
I think that was the entire point.
But what I loved was there was a certain part, maybe halfway through, when James Corden has this look on his face like, I can't believe I got these people to do this.
I wonder if they pay him extra for that. Like I've always wanted, because he does some crazy bits where it's really intensive for the actors. So I wonder if they got to throw them some money. I think, because no way they're doing that for free.
And you heard a rumor he's not the nicest guy to work for.
Well, I don't know if this is true. I don't want to give into the rumor mill, but I did hear that. Yeah, that he doesn't really
Ellen situation.
That he doesn't really know his crew and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's true.
Well, good morning. Welcome to the Friday show. We will be getting ready after the show to go down to Virginia Beach, and it is one of what's going to be our regular trips here. Now that Grampy's back, I'll be going down about every 4 or 5 weeks, and this time Matt's going with us because the show's new. We don't want to take a week off.
Yeah, we don't know if this is going to be an every time thing that I go with you guys, but one of the reasons why I used to not go with you guys was school, but I don't have school, so I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. But yeah, this one, the show just started, so we didn't want to go on vacation already.
Yeah. Later in future months, we may put on some recorded episodes, or I don't know. So we'll do something.
There should always be something for you to watch at 8 o'clock in the morning. Yep. That's my goal.
That's our goal.
On weekdays. Weekends, I can't promise.
Sorry to say, we have no Trish today.
Yes.
Let me pause for the audience to go, "Aw."
And let us pause for everyone that was just tuning in to see Trish. They can leave. I apologize.
Have a good weekend.
We disappointed you. Yeah. Yes.
But Trish is my wife, Priscilla, which we covered, I think, in show number 1. Someone actually, Mary Lou, actually commented on one of our Facebook posts yesterday, and she said, "Who is Trish?" Yeah. And then she commented after, "Never mind, I just watched episode 8.
Well, it's funny because it's like a little bit of the radio world coming in, where you used to have to repeat things many times throughout the show because people wouldn't listen. And
we call that a reset.
So we don't necessarily have to do that multiple times an episode, but multiple episodes we need to mention who Trish is because people might be tuning in at different times.
So that's the loving name he has for his mom.
Yes, okay? Not out of disrespect, no. Completely out of love.
And we were going to give her equal time because we've been having some fun at her expense this week.
Yes.
But Charlie has to go to the vet at, 9 o'clock?
I think so.
Yeah. So, she's got to get him ready.
And it's a really busy day for, we all got to pack up a ton of stuff.
I want to talk to you about packing, too, if we get a chance this morning.
Yeah.
But, we have no Trish for you this morning. And
I think she's just being a diva. I think she knows.
You think so?
She knows she's getting famous.
She's holding out for the buffet.
She got fan mail, so straight to the head. Yeah, that's what I think it is. I'm kidding, of course.
Yeah. So she has Charlie with her this morning, so he's not asleep at my feet. Yes. Which, by the way, my feet are in sneakers.
Yes, he's out of the boot.
I got out of the walking boot yesterday. I must say, because we are so quick to complain when we're stuck in the waiting room, but I have to say that the past 3 times that I've been to Hawthorne Medical, which for those of you, we have viewers from out of state, so for those of you, there are like 2 health companies here in our area, South Coast Health and Hawthorne Medical. And
it's quite the rivalry.
It is. Yeah. So I've got doctors actually at both, but at Hawthorne Medical, it's like 2 huge buildings with I don't know how many doctors, but any time of day that I've been there, you get there and the parking lot's full.
Yeah.
I mean, they have valet parking.
Everybody is sick or injured.
Yeah. Either that or we're all getting old.
I guess,
except for you. Yeah. But
I am too.
So, but I wanted to say that the past, I'd say 3 times that I've been to Hawthorne Medical, I got in, I saw my doctor, I got out.
I'm going to be honest. Maybe that's a positive from the pandemic because all my waiting room times have been quick. I I thoroughly enjoy the waiting in your car until you get a call to go in. I mean, me personally,
Okay.
I like being in my car, and plus you can jam on your music
True.
and as loud as you want, and just wait for that phone call.
So
I
anyway,
like it.
I just wanted to say props to them because I get in, I waited in the waiting room, but probably no more than 5 minutes.
And yesterday we did mention how he didn't know if 14 days was yesterday or the day before. And it was a good thing that he listened to the smart people in the house because the doctor agreed that yesterday was the 14th day.
Yeah, the doctor came in and he said, I wondered if I'd see you in the boot or not. And I told him about how we had this discussion. And he said, no, today is the 14th day. Tomorrow you can go no boot.
So I don't know if Trish is out there, but me and Trish were right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So she has Charlie with her, by the way, but we do have a Charlie picture for you this morning because I have just posted the Charlie chat at PeteBraley.com.
Here's the Charlie picture. He got a bath yesterday.
Yeah, we'll reveal that's what the blog's about.
I can't believe how small he looked because he's been growing. I mean, he's a small dog,
right?
But he's been growing like crazy the past couple weeks, and we've all been saying like, oh, he's definitely getting bigger.
He's taller.
I watched because obviously Pete has his personal photographer over here.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, get some pictures of the bath. I'm like, yes, sir.
I still had the boot on, so I wanted you to go into the bathroom.
Here we go. Yeah. It's a walking boot for a reason, Pete.
Oh.
But anyways, so
walking.
I couldn't believe how small he looked because his fur. He doesn't have like fur. He has like real hair.
It's hair.
He's one of those dogs.
He doesn't shed. We're having such a blast with this.
It's crazy. Yeah. I mean, you guys can see how many times I wear a black T-shirt, and it's because I used to not be able to.
Yeah. Strong T-shirt game, by the way. Strong T-shirt game.
I try.
Parmalee is it a group?
Country, yeah, it's a country group.
It's a group. Yeah.
This is actually the first concert I ever went to. Country concert.
Cool.
Yeah, was Parmalee.
So anyway, the Charlie chat, which is basically the world through the eyes of Charlie. See,
yes.
I can't write my own stuff, so
That's it.
I have other characters.
He doesn't even. They're not even characters. He hires other people to do it. He had a baby writing a blog, and because he couldn't.
Which, by the way, there just may be a special edition of Raising Grampy coming next week.
See, here's what you keep doing. You keep putting it out on the show before you even do it. So now it's like you're committed, like you have to.
Well, isn't that a good thing? Or?
I guess, yeah, because now you don't have a choice. Like we did it with the Trish thing. We hyped up Trish. We said Trish is coming Friday, and then we disappointed everybody.
Right.
We're sorry. We're the worst.
We'll get. Oh, and by the way, we're not sure if she'll be with us next week on camera.
No, she will.
She will?
At least for a couple minutes. Yeah, There's no reason why she wouldn't.
Well, because it's going to be her job to watch Liam because he's not going to daycare next week.
Yeah.
So Liam, we're planning to have Liam like on every show next week.
Yeah.
But probably only for 2 minutes.
Well, because he's a baby.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm 22, and it's a struggle for me to sit in one place for an hour.
There's no way he's going to sit for an hour. So
yeah.
Mom will be taking care of...
I mean, we never know. I mean, he's never been in front of a mic. Maybe he's a natural. Maybe he comes on the mic and he's like, this is the Pete Braley Show. And he loves it. And I'm out of a job. I become the behind-the-scenes producer, and Liam becomes the co-host.
Maybe he'll do an hour of stand-up, huh?
Maybe. But he just grabs the mic and he's like, I'm not.
So we're going to have Liam, and we're going to have 3 dogs, right, in the house. We're going to have Charlie with us, and then Sarah has Luke and Yoda. Star Wars fanatic, yeah.
Yes.
And so
if they weren't named after Star Wars, I'd genuinely be concerned. Yeah. I don't know where you would come up with those names.
So good morning and welcome to June 11th, Friday. Today is National Making Life Beautiful Day. Now, this is where I pause because he's made it his effort or his goal to make fun of every day.
I think a lot of these days are bogus, and it doesn't. I mean, that one, I guess that one's positive. At least
making life beautiful.
I just don't really know, like, who has the right to be like.
I'm going to name it.
Yes, this is a national day.
Well, how about the next one? This is National Corn on the Cob Day.
Like, those are the days I'm talking about. Like, why? Unless there's some deeper meaning with like corn farmers. I don't get it.
All right, maybe I'll research these a little deeper to find the meaning.
I just think it's a waste of time. Like, what was the one the other? Like National Call Your Doctor Day. Like, how did that? How did that became a thing? Like, what?
Ballpoint
That's
pen
just
day.
A waste of time.
Ballpoint pen day. That was a big one. Yeah.
What?
On the date book, on this day in 1776, the Continental Congress created the committee to draft a Declaration of Independence. All right, who can we get to write this thing? On this day in 1993, Jurassic Park with Sam Neill and Jeff Goldblum opens. It set a box office weekend record at the time with $502 million. And on this day in 2002, American Idol premiered on Fox with Simon Cowell, Paula Abdul, Randy Jackson, and there were two hosts, if you remember. Ryan Seacrest, and I didn't write his... Wasn't his name like Dinkelman? And honest to God, I think it was.
I never knew that.
Brian Dinkelman. Let's Google that later.
Okay. Yeah, and I never knew that.
Brian, yeah, there was a co-host who never came back.
Interesting.
So Ryan got the gig. So coming up today, we are going to have a chat. Joe Montana is 64 today. That's our celebrity birthday.
The second best quarterback ever.
There you go. Coming up today, we are going to connect with my friend Dean DeVore at AccuWeather. Had a nice chat with Dean yesterday, and it was so good to catch up.
It was. I think it's a really interesting interview.
Dean did the weather with us for years. He'd do a live Q&A at 6:35 in the morning, and also then he'd come back at 9:40, and we had a blast talking to him. Of course, he took over from Dr. Joe Sobel, and we'll catch up with him this morning, all right, in just a bit. We do have a couple of Feel Good Friday songs, including one from a viewer, and road trip playlists. Do you make one before you head out? Are we going to make one before we head out?
We'll see. We can talk about it. Yeah.
All right, but first, let's get to the news this morning. Friday, the 11th of June, jewelry company Alex & Ani has filed for bankruptcy. The Rhode Island-based business was founded in 2004, and its charm bangle bracelets became extremely popular. But it expanded quickly and faced financial problems in recent years. The company plans to continue operating the stores that are currently open, as well as their website. It's been more than 2 years since Governor Charlie Baker announced plans to legalize professional sports betting in Massachusetts, but the Commonwealth still has yet to join neighboring New Hampshire and Rhode Island in allowing people to gamble on sports legally. The latest step in the process to legalize betting is a hearing scheduled for June 17th at the State House, where there will be a joint committee hearing on several sports wagering bills, including the one put forward by Baker. The governor's plan would raise an estimated $35 million in local aid and does not allow for college sports betting. WBZ in Boston reporting that a Minnesota-based cartoon artist, John Rasmussen, is paying tribute to the Braintree Police Canine Kit, who passed away recently. Rasmussen started drawing pen and ink cartoons of people's pets entering heaven after his own golden retriever, Jack, passed away in 2015. Rasmussen says he spoke to an animal communicator, which I never knew there was, but he spoke to an animal communicator after his dog's death, who told him that Jack wanted him to find a way to help people. Rasmussen has done about 3,000 drawings for mourning pet lovers. His goal, he says, is to bring people comfort and help them through the emotional grief of losing a pet. Here's a look at the cartoon that he drew for the Braintree Police Department. Isn't that cool?
I just love the different ways that people's ultimate goal is to make people feel good.
Yeah.
And the different ways that they do that is just awesome.
The Braintree Police Department shared the cartoon on their Facebook page, writing, "No words. No words can describe this." The post has, as of last night, has thousands of likes and has been shared hundreds of times. And remember how I said I think some older people didn't feel comfortable with technology and computers when they first came out, and I suspected that people might have a fear that, I might break the internet, and we said, that can never happen.
Yeah, how can you break the entire internet?
Well, it happened. If you remember, several websites, I think I mentioned this on Tuesday, several websites, including the New York Times, Amazon, Reddit, and even YouTube, went down on Tuesday due to the cloud provider Fastly, which said a customer caused the outage. Fastly, ever heard of Fastly?
No.
Yeah. Fastly said the customer stumbled upon a configuration change that resulted in an undiscovered software bug on the platform, and this single-handedly brought down some of the largest tech, news, and social media companies. The outage didn't last too long in the U.S., with some sites down for just an hour.
Did we have trouble on Tuesday? No, it was Wednesday, right? Wednesday was the day
that's
we had
right.
trouble. Yeah,
that's right. It was Wednesday when we got knocked off. But
yeah.
I don't know. I read this story yesterday, and Matt was like, "How can he somehow? What did they say? He somehow stumbled on a configuration change."
First off, I don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
But second off, I just don't understand how you can stumble upon something like that.
And my advice, whenever you're clicking around and it says advanced, don't go there.
Yeah, if you're not advanced, which I wouldn't be either. So I don't go there.
Hey, the Red Sox actually beat the Houston Astros, so it can be done. But I guess it was a wild night at Fenway. I must confess I did not see the game, but I'll tell you what I've read about it in just a bit. So the question is, do you make a playlist for a trip? A new survey found that 60% of people taking a road trip make a playlist to set the mood. How essential is the perfect playlist? 35% of those surveyed said they would turn the car around if they didn't have the right tunes. I think that's a little
that's a little much to turn the car. I mean, you got to be joking at that point. You're just exaggerating. I don't believe anyone would actually turn the car around.
You're really going back because you forgot your underwear.
That's why you're turning around. I thought you were talking about me. I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, what?
If you turn around the car, honey, I'm going to go back and get my playlist. It's because you forgot your deodorant or something.
Yeah, but also, we're in the age of streaming. Just make a playlist on the go, man.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't like the playlist, find some better songs. I don't know what to tell you.
So, here are some of the must-have songs on the perfect road trip playlist. The top 5... Let me do this Casey Kasem style. Do you remember Casey Kasem, or am I dating myself?
That sounds really familiar. But
he was the DJ that did American Top 40.
Yes, okay. That's what I thought it was.
And he had a voice that sounds like this. At number 5. Number 5 is On the Road Again by Willie Nelson.
I mean, that's a little cliche, no? You're on a road trip, you're going to play On the Road Again?
That's like a dad joke song,
Yeah.
Like dad would get in the car and go, On the Road Again.
That's like I remember.
Have the dad bop down?
There you go. I used to play, like when we would be coming home from a long road trip, I'd always play like the I'm coming home, I'm coming home.
Okay.
Yeah, like so that's like another corny joke like that. Like, come on.
Now, number 4, I think is even more bizarre. Number 4 is Take Me Home Country Roads by John Denver. Is that?
I guess we're
just
like
a slow song.
But also, this is not how road trip playlists work. You don't just take any song that's about a road.
It gets better.
Okay.
Number 3 is Life is a Highway by Tom Cochrane.
Again, though, the common theme here is that they're all about roads.
Life is a highway.
That's not the only requirement to make a
the next
playlist
two are
here.
not.
Okay.
The next two are not. Number 2 is Hotel California by the Eagles.
Okay.
All right. You like that one?
Yeah.
And number 1 is Sweet Home Alabama by Leonard Skinner.
I guess. I mean...
You don't like that song?
No, I do. I'm talking in relation to the road trip playlists. I just think, like, I don't know, there's no formula to making a road trip playlist. You get a bunch of songs that you want to listen to. Yeah. My go-to move is songs that I haven't had a chance to really digest yet. So, like, I have some albums that I really haven't been able to listen, like newer albums that came out that I haven't been able to listen to yet. Mm-hmm. So that, because the glorious thing about a road trip is you're stuck in the same place for a while. So, like,
yeah.
You actually have the time to listen to it.
Mom has already warned me that she's going to catch up on the podcast. So she said, I hope you guys don't mind listening to yourself.
It's tough. Like, I really appreciate the support, but I don't know. We do the talking, so I don't really think we need to listen back here. We kind of say our opinions. And I don't know if anyone else, like, experiences this. I hate listening to myself. It took me a while to be okay editing my own singing, because listening to yourself sing is very cringeworthy sometimes.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
But the thing about not liking hearing yourself, correct me if I'm wrong, fellow colleagues, but that's like an early thing in radio. When we first got on the air, we're like, oh, is that what I sound like? I don't like that.
Well, the science behind it.
You also never sound
the way you hear it.
You don't hear it the way we hear it.
Yeah. Because the science behind it is the way it's bouncing around to your eardrums. I think it's that there's more bass when you hear yourself talk. So there's more bass when I hear myself right now. Well, actually, I'm talking into a microphone, so I don't know if it's
it has to do with the vibration you hear.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Other people don't get that same experience. So when you hear it from like a distance, like from a speaker or something like that. It's different. Yeah.
All right, let's get to sports this morning. And the Boston Red Sox, here's what I read this morning. This is how Monster.com reported on last night's game, or started the report. What an absurd game. The Red Sox came into Thursday's game looking to avoid a sweep and did it in wild fashion. This game included, but was not limited to, multiple game-changing home runs, an infield fly rule in mid-center field, a double play where no one knew what was going on, a Christian Arroyo bat flip, and so much more. I guess I missed a good one.
I guess the bat flip is the least weird of all of those moments.
And don't get me started on the infield fly rule.
Yeah, it has more to do with the relationship to where the runners are at than actually the infield. So I think it's the name that's the problem.
Yeah,
I'm not really upset with the situation of it.
I don't know
the
this
rule itself.
situation, but like if your shortstop drifts into center field to catch the fly, it's considered an infield fly because an infielder is catching it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's to protect against like not catching it on purpose and earning like double plays and stuff.
Right. Yeah.
So in that case, it kind of makes sense. Yeah.
So J.D. Martinez hit his 13th home run. Christian Arroyo had a 3-run drive, and the Red Sox took advantage of a pair of drop balls in a 5-run sixth inning to beat the Houston Astros 12-8 Thursday. They avoided a 3-game sweep. The Sox will host Toronto tonight at 7. Tiger Woods, who is still recovering from his car crash, declined an offer from NBC Sports to voice and be part of next week's U.S. Open at Torrey Pines in California. He just didn't want to do it because he doesn't want to be a sideshow at the events. Tiger has avoided the spotlight ever since he crashed in Los Angeles in February. He's hardly spoken about the incident, and he's only posted one picture of himself since the crash. I fear he'll never be back. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know the extent of his injuries, but just the way I don't know. I just have a feeling. I know he kind of shattered his leg, and as a person who's had a few rehabs, I don't think he'll get back. I'll be amazed, and God bless him if he does.
I mean, if professional golfing lets you have a golf cart, then maybe, but they don't. You got to walk that.
Got to walk it. Yeah.
Yep.
And just one entertainment story this morning. The big screen adaptation of Lin-Manuel Miranda's Broadway musical Into the Heights centers on a bodega owner, played by Anthony Ramos this time, who discovers his mom-and-pop Stop and Shop has sold a winning lottery ticket. The ensemble cast includes Melissa Barrera, Leslie Grace, Corey Hawkins, and Olga Merides. Miranda, who wrote the show and portrayed the main character on Broadway, produced the film and appears in a cameo role. So watch for him. That opens today, and it's projected to have a $20 to $30 million weekend.
I think we'll be watching that this week because it is also on HBO Max.
Yeah, they've been doing that since the pandemic, right? They've been putting movies on.
I think Sarah said we're gonna watch it one day next week.
I am looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Being the Hamilton nuts that we are.
I'm just a big fan of Lin-Manuel Miranda, and Anthony Ramos. I love his music, so I'm excited for that.
Before we get to the next feature, I wanted to ask you about packing. Because later today we're leaving tomorrow morning at 5:00.
Yeah, that's Trish, man. Trish always wants to leave. I do respect it because that's. I mean, the perk of going down there a million times is you've learned what the window is to catch the least amount of traffic.
Yes.
So, and she found it, and that's the window. So we got to do it.
It is a 10-hour drive that can sometimes be 12 hours.
Yeah.
I think Doug holds the record. He's done.
Trish actually, I think.
Oh, Trish does.
Yeah, it's 9.5.
9.5 hours. All right, but that's the fastest we've ever done.
The thing is, though, she did it because she was by herself, so she didn't have to stop for other people.
Okay,
she stopped. Right. I don't know if she dehydrated herself, so she never had to go to the bathroom or what it was. But yeah, 9.5 hours.
Yeah, so we always in our mind think it's a 12-hour drive, and anything under that is a win. So one of the reasons she leaves at 5 is that gets us in Virginia Beach at around 4 in the afternoon.
Yeah. So you can still have dinner and visit. The day's not ruined. Real quick, though, we do have some chats.
Oh, sure.
We are very behind. We got to work on our chemistry so I can interrupt you at a good time.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's see. way back at the beginning, Abby said...
I used to have a partner, by the way, that would punch me in the shoulder.
See, that's the thing about this is no longer... If it was just voice and audio, I could just
you could do that.
I could flip you off, and that
Go
would
ahead.
be...
Let's find out what's going on.
All right. So back in the beginning, Abby said no, and that was in response to Trish not being here. Gail said, hugs to Trish. And Justin said, we want Trish. I know. Everybody's here for Trish.
Yeah. They're gone now.
I'm reading these. Everyone's gone. We got 0 viewers because it's just Matt and Pete.
Yeah.
Notice how I said my name first. Let's see. Gail said, are we going to get to see Doug? I would love to have Doug on the show. Unfortunately, he works when we're going to be airing it.
He has Fridays off, though.
Okay. We'll get him up early on his day off.
I think that they started doing that during COVID.
Yeah.
That they had Fridays off because Friday was always a short day anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't. Maybe
hopefully
we'll try.
We'll talk to him. If not, I'm hoping because we're hopefully fingers crossed building my desk while we're down there. So
right.
Hopefully get some video of that and we can show that on the show. She also said and Roscoe. The unfortunate thing is we're doing the show at Sarah's, so the chances of Roscoe being on.
Roscoe is Doug's dog. Doug and Marla. And Marla's dog.
Yeah, so I don't think Roscoe will get on, unfortunately. Abby said, who decides these days? That's in response to the national days.
Oh.
And Justin also said, what committee decides these different days? That's what I want to know.
Let me look into that.
Like, does anyone have the ability to just claim a day?
I think any one of us can nominate a day, but I don't know who makes the decision.
If that's the case, I'm going to start nominating the most stupid days. Like, just watch me. Watch me.
And I bet half of those you nominate probably already have a day.
Probably. That's true. Gail also said, just had a thought. Will you be selling water bottles or stickers for water bottles with the Pete Braley Show on them? Ooh. We would love to eventually have merch of some kind. That would be really cool. As of right now, we just have these mugs that I bought for Pete as a little show starter gift.
Thank you.
But yeah, we would definitely love to do something like that in the future. If everybody wants them, let us know. The more people that want them, the sooner we can do it. Kat said it was a crazy game last night, the Red Sox game. Abby said Dad would sing that every single time, probably Country Roads.
Country Roads.
Big John Denver fan.
My brother was a big John Denver fan.
Yes. Yep. Gail said my husband would make CDs and label them road tunes.
Oh, cool.
See, I remember that, like very early memories of that.
Yep.
Of making like mixtapes.
Mixtapes. Remember those?
It's funny because everyone calls them mixtapes still, and they're not a tape.
Nobody uses a tape, huh?
Yeah. Taylor said, I also hate hearing myself sing Matt, but people keep paying me, so I keep doing it. Hey, until they stop paying, you know?
Taylor,
and even when they stop paying, keep on going.
Taylor does Sinatra shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's see. What's up?
He's even... Did I miss your gig in Providence? He has a gig either coming up or just had one at like a Providence.
Well, if it's coming up, everybody go check it out.
All right.
There we go. Kat says, Correa was literally almost in center field when he dropped the ball, but it was still an infield fly. Yeah.
Because he's the shortstop, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll have to look it up. Yeah. The rule definitely it either needs a new name or needs to be changed.
Right.
Because it's not an infield fly. Abby said he would sing on the road again and Country Road, so we would sing the song.
He would sing on the road
that never ends. The song that never ends. That's funny. Justin Andre, don't forget to like if you can. Yeah, everybody like the stream. That would definitely help us out.
We've got to be better at this. I hate begging you to do stuff, but evidently, if you like and subscribe and share, it helps us grow.
This is my view. I don't want to beg you to do anything. If you hate the show, then you can close it out right now. And and all I ask is that in a couple weeks you come back and give us another chance, and hopefully the quality gets better. But if you love the show, I only ask you to subscribe and hit the notification button just so that you don't miss it. Okay. If you enjoy it, support it. If not, we're not begging out here.
Okay.
If you don't like the show, we just got to be better. That's my mentality, and so I'm not going to beg you to do anything, but it would help out, and we would love it. So yeah, like, subscribe, all the stuff.
And by the way, I got a Facebook message this morning from Greg, who is he's the voice of the trailer, right?
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah. Greg said, "Hope all goes well with the show. Would listen, but I'm already buried in the day job by 8 a.m. and my feeble 60-year-old brain can't process more than one train of thought at a time."
Hey, I'm 22, and that happens to me.
Hey,
so.
You can check it out later in the. It's on YouTube forever.
Yeah, and Taylor says, "I'll be back there July 10th, Ale House Cigar Bar."
Thank you.
You heard it here, July 10th.
All right.
The Ale House Cigar Bar.
Check out Taylor doing his show. It's fantastic.
Yes, sir.
Oh, so finishing the packing
Yeah,
thought.
Sorry.
Do you stress out about packing?
I don't stress out about packing clothes because my mentality, and I've always, no matter what, I've always overpacked. I just take a bunch of stuff and throw it in a suitcase. So I always have ample. Also, I don't know, my wardrobe is very simple in like winter, fall, and spring. It's jeans and a bunch of T-shirts.
There you go.
And now in the summer, it is shorts and a bunch of T-shirts. So it's pretty simple. I don't stress about clothes. I'm very stressed because I have to pack up all of the show equipment,
the gear,
and all of my music equipment.
Right.
And so I'm very worried because if I forget like any small essential piece.
It's not like we can go to Walmart and get you a mixer.
Yeah, the only thing would be if I could Amazon Prime something to get there on Monday, but then we wouldn't be able to go on Monday. So that's the thing I'm stressed about is the gear.
The reason I asked is because it's not so much my wife. Maybe she does mention it, but I've heard, I think it's Kat, actually. I've heard my daughter
She's in the chat, so tread lightly.
I know. Come back at me. Go ahead. But I've heard her say, I hate packing. I hate packing. And I don't, the way I do it is I just go upstairs, I put the suitcase on the bed, I open it up, and I go, all right, Monday, and I get out, whatever, shirt, shorts, underwear, socks, belt.
I don't do it that way.
Put it in, and I don't put it in yet. I leave it all out. I go, Tuesday, what am I wearing Tuesday? I'll put dum, 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 dum. And then I go, okay, a couple of extra T-shirts, because it's hot down there. And
yes.
You sweat.
Yep.
Pajamas, bathing suit. And to me, it's just like, dum, dum, dum,
See,
dum, dum,
my
dum.
problem with doing it by day, though, is what if you don't know what the day's going to entail, Like one day down there, I'm going to be building a desk, but I don't know what day it is.
Right.
So I got to bring some crappy clothes down, but I don't know what day it is. So I just throw a bunch of stuff in a suitcase and I make it work when I'm down there.
Now, I will ask this. Is it because I'm a guy?
I don't know.
I mean, women, do you have other things that you think about?
I would think that a lot of people do it your way, though. They do it by days.
Yeah.
But it also has to do with, I feel like everyone kind of brings a nice outfit. So if you go out, everyone brings, like you said, pajamas, bathing suit. Okay, here's Kat. I literally hate packing. My struggle is I don't know what I want to wear days in advance. Exactly. That's why the Matt strategy, just pack everything, and you can't go wrong. And you get stronger because your suitcase weighs 1,000,000 pounds.
Yeah.
So I win.
I suppose you could you, like, how many days am I there for? 5. Okay, I need 5 pair of underwear. I need 5 pairs of socks.
True. And the great thing about being, like, going to Virginia is we're going to either Sarah or Doug's house, so you can just do laundry whenever you need to.
True.
So it's not that big a deal.
And
Abby says, I don't mind packing. It's the unpacking I don't like. ...
See, I don't get that. What was the last thing? ...
I don't like ... or do. Oh, she doesn't unpack. Right. Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
To me, unpacking is just, usually it all goes in the washing machine or it all goes in the hamper.
Pretty much.
Plus,
I don't know if this is like wasting water. I hope not. But my thing too is like sometimes we do laundry down there, so I have like some clean clothes and some dirty clothes in the suitcase.
Okay.
But they travel back in a suitcase together, so in my opinion, they're now dirty.
Makes them all dirty.
Yeah, because they probably get like the dirty clothes smell on them.
Sometimes
so
I just
wash everything.
Sometimes I'll put the dirty clothes like in a plastic bag to kind of separate, but still, they're gross.
Yeah. Justin says I pack the day I leave. To be honest,
really.
See, technically,
that's a guy thing.
Technically, I do the same because I pack so late at night typically that it is like midnight. So it is technically the day we leave and we wake up at 4 a.m. I get no. I'm going to try not to do this tonight, but usually I get no sleep before the car rides. Wow. Gail says my children learned "Take Me Home, Country Roads" from a cassette that I recorded with Skips. They learned the song with the Skips. Imagine their surprise when they heard a better recording. That's funny.
You understand? Records used to skip.
Yeah.
The needle would jump ahead, and you could miss a few words.
Yeah.
And that must have been fun.
I was confused for a second because Skip, I automatically thought like the person Skip.
Skip is Gail's son.
Yeah, who's one of Doug's best friends. Yeah, so that's who I was thinking of. I was like, there's multiple Skips? Taylor says, I'm like George Costanza. I dress/pack based on mood.
Oh.
Interesting.
Your mood's going to change, though, once you get there, isn't it?
Or maybe he's trying to set his mood for the vacation.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right.
Interesting.
Just wondering about packing as we get ready to head south. All right. It is time for a, what was going to be a Thursday thing, but, We missed a day. So anyway, we have our weekly clip from the vault.
Yes. So here it is. Pete actually helped me pick this one. Certain ones, if I have a bone to pick, I won't tell him what it is, but he does know what this one is. Yeah. So we'll give you guys a listen.
Pete Braley in the morning.
I don't know if I'm going to be here at 7:55.
Why?
A very serious situation is developing here. As this morning, the Hanson tour dates have been announced. And June 26th, they will be at Great Woods in Mansfield.
And so will Pete Braley. And your lovely daughter.
If I'm not, I'm going to be in big trouble. I'm going to tell you this right now. We got the posters, we got the books, we got everything at home. They're going out on a tour, and my daughter's just crazy about Hanson. And if I don't get her tickets, I am going to be in big trouble. So
I'm going to go now, Scott, okay? I'm just going to...
You get a tent. Get a tent.
You do the show, and I'm going to get mine, okay?
Get a tent, a few sleeping bags, park yourself outside Great Woods. When the tickets go on sale, you'll be right there.
I didn't leave.
But darn. You know, you're not going to hear much of the concert when you do go.
Oh, it's all screaming.
Oh, yeah.
I might even just take them to the concert and then sit in the car and read a book.
There you go.
Just make sure they're safe.
So that was, if I do the math right, I think Sarah was 8. So,
I was not born. That's all I know.
Yeah. So that would have been 1997?
So
right?
Kat was actually born, if that's correct. Then Kat was in the picture. Most of these clips, me and Kat are not in the picture.
To follow up on this...
Yes, did you get the tickets?
I did get tickets. So at the Great Woods concert, there was me, there was Sarah, there was my son Doug, and Scott Renish.
I do have to say, Scott was talking a lot of crap there, that you were going to be stuck with a bunch of screaming little girls, but
I don't know why
Scott went too.
I don't know why he offered to go, but
you needed backup, I guess.
I guess so. But Scott and the four, I remember it was sitting in Mansfield. It was me, Sarah, Doug, Scott. And I did get earplugs, to which you were surprised. Like,
I've never worn earplugs at a concert, but they pointed out to me that it's because I've never gone to a concert where like little girls is the primary demographic.
Yes, it's like I know 8 to 13-year-old girls when they all get screaming.
Yeah,
and being me, I had the earplugs in and I was like, I wonder how loud it is.
Well, you got to try it.
So
right?
I took the earplug out and I physically recoiled,
We went to Monster Jam one time, and we wore earplugs, and we all did the same thing. We're like, I wonder how loud it is, though. And monster trucks are loud, man. Yeah. Especially inside. It was at the Dunkin' Donuts Center, so that was the sound can't escape there. Trish backed you up though, because she went to the Jonas Brothers with Kat once, which same thing. And she also has worked on the ambulance for many Taylor Swift concerts.
And what you tell us, for the Taylor Swift concert, they stuffed their pockets with earplugs and...
Band-Aids.
Band-Aids.
Yes, because high heels.
Yeah.
Everybody gets blisters.
Yeah, or they wear flip-flops, which is not a good idea for a concert.
It's really not. But that's the thing. I only really go to country concerts, so it's a bunch of just drunken idiot old men.
So there was our...
And then there's Matt.
There was our clip from the vault. I love playing the jingle.
I do have to say, the clips like that, like this whole clip, one thing I noticed, you were very good with the dynamics of the microphone, like to make the scene play out. Like the walking away from the mic. All right, I'm going to head out. Like that's, you did it at the...
I knew that you had to yell as you backed up.
And there's another clip where you acted like the drive-through. Maybe we'll play that one time.
Okay.
You act like the drive-through person, like you did the cover-up. Like it sounds good. The dynamics are there.
Thank you,
I need that energy here, okay? For the people.
I'll try to bring it. I'll try to bring it.
It was in the contract, and you're not doing it. No, I'm kidding.
All right, let's get to... I especially want to get to this Feel Good Friday story before we talk to Dean next. I got a Facebook message from Amanda last Friday, and she told me Amanda was actually in my confirmation class at the church a couple of years ago, and she has since moved out to Kansas City. And Amanda told me about the Legacy Walk at Union Station in Kansas City. So here's a feel-good story for you. Amanda's stepdad needed a liver transplant 3 years ago, and that's when they heard about Zach. Zach was in his 20s when he passed away. She said her family has become very close, or Zach's family, has become very close with the organ donor's family. Amanda's family has become good friends with Zach's family. There we go. I'm sorry, I'm goofing this up. Last weekend, there was a walk, and all of Zach's organ recipients, because there have been more than one, and their families participated, including Zach's buddy Lucas, in this walk that was held in Kansas. It was called the Legacy Walk. Zach's buddy Lucas studied filmmaking at KU and is actually in the process of making a documentary that Netflix has offered to publish.
Oh, wow.
It's all about organ donation and the importance of it. So I thought that was a neat story that they, number one, that they all get together, the recipient's family and the donor's family. So
I always love stories like that. Yeah.
All right, shall we get to our chat with Dean?
Yeah, just real quick, we have Gloria Baker said, I'm still here. What's up, Gloria?
Hello.
Abby says, Hanson is still touring, so there you go. You, Sarah, it should be you, Sarah, Doug, and Scott Renish. You should, I'll pass. I'm okay, but you guys can go again.
And we have to bring Abby and her sisters.
There we
go. Because they are huge. They actually, they went to a Hanson concert a year or so ago in Boston, and I remember saying, they're still touring?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you get that sort of longevity as a musician, that's crazy. That's something. That's all I gotta say. Yeah, that's rare.
It's not like they're releasing. Well, they're still. Abby, are they releasing music?
If I had to guess, probably. You don't really tour on old music.
Well, it's not in the mainstream, I don't think. But
but like normally you still release, even it's probably not as big as their old. Obviously, they're touring because of their old stuff, but they probably have released stuff before they started touring again. Typically, you release stuff before.
I know the Hanson Christmas album comes out every year, or it's on playlists.
Yeah.
All right. So yesterday, do we have any more?
Let's see. Gail said I suffer permanent hearing loss from a New Kids on the Block concert that I took my daughter Megan and her friend to. I had earplugs in and held my hands over my ears for most of the concert.
And it was still loud, huh?
That's crazy.
Wow.
Was it inside? Because there's a big difference, right? Inside, outside. Because outside, the sound can kind of. It has another place to go. It can disperse better.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Our seats at Great Woods were underneath the.
Now that wasn't the Xfinity. What is now?
What is now the Xfinity?
Okay.
Yes.
So and it was outdoor, obviously.
Yeah, but they have a roof.
Yeah,
so we were under the roof.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah, so
all right. Yeah. Abby said they do have a bunch of new music.
Oh, they do?
They have new stuff coming out right now. Everybody go check it out.
All right.
Like Hanson needs a plug, from a rinky-dink talk show over here.
And in case anyone's saying, who's Hanson? Remember the song Bop?
There you go.
And there are actually lyrics to that because it goes a certain way. Bop, dip, 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 bum.
Well, yeah.
And I'm probably doing it wrong. But
probably. If I had to guess, that when they wrote that song, they were probably struggling on that lyric for a long time to make it sound perfect.
Yesterday, I had a chance to. I was hoping to do this earlier in the week, but his schedule and my schedule, and so we were able to connect yesterday with Dean DeVore, my former weatherman from AccuWeather. So let's share that.
One of my favorite parts of the morning show, and I really say that truthfully, was when I'd see that little phone line light up and I'd know Dean DeVore was there. So here he is, Dean DeVore from AccuWeather. Welcome.
Pete Braley, it is so good to see you, talk to you, hear your voice. It's funny. We right now I'm on 8 stations in the mornings,
I was going to ask you about that.
Right? Yeah. And so it's funny because then I have all these radio families. I mean, there was a time there was a few more added in there. So I had a dozen radio families and that family feel, even though we don't see each other every day, but we talk to each other. It was certainly there and great times when I took over for Dr. Joe and then
that's right.
And it's funny because here we are, second full week of June now. My head's on the Cape already for my July, and we always would stop and see you on the way on to Cape. And so the last few years when you haven't been there, I've waved there at the New Bedford exit and said, bye, Petey.
Bye, Pete.
Good to see you.
Yeah, you made that. You didn't make the trip last year, did you?
We did, actually.
Oh, did you?
So if you remember, the pandemic kind of came at us hard and fast. March of 2021, AccuWeather was an early adopter in having people work from home because of our extensive traveling that a lot of our folks do. And we do a lot of business with China.
Oh,
we're one of the big, in fact, the biggest provider of weather data to them. And they in turn provide it back to us. So yeah, we have a kind of a foothold in that market. So very early on, it was, if we remember back, and my sports part of my life, which, to remind folks, not only am I a meteorologist for AccuWeather, but I do sports announcing for Penn State. And so we were in the middle of the spring season. I had a bunch of things lined up. The basketball tournaments, the college conference basketball tournaments were all starting to ramp up. And
that's right. That's when it hit.
Yeah, that's when things started to kind of shut down. And so that week, I found out that I couldn't go back into work because Joelle, my partner, had been traveling, and I was locked out. So, well, the choice was either, and at that time we thought 2 weeks, maybe, right? There was that first initial thought it was going to be 2 weeks, right? The 2 weeks, it turned into 2 months, and it feels like 2 years. So, well, you can either keep me in a hotel, or we can have to build something at home. Now, I think that marriage in my life between being a sports broadcaster and then doing this stuff, I'm very adept at setting up remote broadcasting facilities.
Yeah.
And so I was easy to do this, able to do it. It's evolved to a place where I sound as good, if not better, at home. And so that's going to be interesting here, because you're interviewing me here on a morning where this is the last weekday morning where I am exclusively from home. Starting next week, I will be mostly at the Radio Ranch at AccuWeather in our headquarters at State College. I think I've done the Johnny Carson and said by Fridays I can work maybe from home, and any weekend days that I'd be scheduled, I'd do from my home office. Part of that too is keeping the stuff going here at home. We want to keep the options open. I think, as we'll talk about maybe, what was good and bad about all of that, being able to work from home when it's bad weather for us is actually a pretty good thing. Not having to worry about not only getting to the station to tell people not to break their neck.
I used to have a friend. I used to have a friend. She's since passed away, but she mentioned how she always thought it was funny that she would turn the radio on a snow morning, and I would be saying, "Don't go out, don't go out," and yet I went out to do that.
Weren't you told? I remember back when I started in radio, like I was told, never tell people not to go out, never tell that, let the government agencies say that and stuff. And that had something to do with advertisers. You didn't want, supposedly didn't want to tell people not to do things that would affect their advertisers. But I mean, I have treated the weather like I treat my life. I kind of tell it like it is. You might not always agree, you might always not want to hear what I have to say, but I think I'm pretty honest, and at least try to get that aspect of it, because I think, we can talk about amounts, we can talk about temperatures or things like that, but impacts are really, because every storm's different, and the way it evolves, whether it starts off wet and slushy and goes to icy and slippery, or opposite. I mean, all those things come into play.
I've always tried. I never could understand how you guys figure that out, how you look at the satellites, and of course you have all this information that comes into you, but how can you sit in your office or in your studio and figure out that there's going to be 6 inches here and 8 inches there, and
well, there are basics. I mean, you take what we call the QPF, or the amount of moisture we think that storm is going to do. The average ratio of snow to rain is 10-1. If it's a warmer storm, that can be less. If it's colder, drier air, that ratio can be more. It can go 15-20-1. So it may not be a lot of moisture, but it's really cold and dry, and you can get 2, 3, 4 inches of fluffy snow. Whereas in a wet situation, 33, it might be an inch. So that's the first part. And then the other thing is kind of looking at rates where the best energy is. We call it upward motion and those kind of things. We look at that, and then we kind of try to come up with a snapshot. Now, one of the things that's evolved now is because of the modeling being so good, because we get so much of it. I mean, I get a model about the next 12 to 24 hours, every hour, a new model telling me where they thinks it's going to rain going forward. And so, I mean, a lot of that, it's just kind of synthesizing. Honestly, Pete, I spend a lot of time all morning just looking at the satellite. I feel the weather in more patterny kind of thing. I've always felt the weather. I mean, I don't necessarily have to look at a model every day and kind of tell you what the next couple of days are like. I might not get the exact specific of it, but just kind of watching and looking at the pattern and feeling it. And I've had the ability, and maybe it's why I'm good at sports broadcasting and other things, is kind of be able to be in the moment and be in the situation and help explain that to people and try to prepare them. So how do we do it? A lot of it's science. A lot of it is over the years experience. AccuWeather's kind of built its own modeling, ingesting all the modeling information, synthesizing that down, gives us something to start with. The models aren't always right. In fact, you know, there's so many differences, but the models are a tool, just like anything in your life. It should be a tool rather than a solution all the time.
And so, how do you handle, because I'm sure this happens in your life, because friends used to say this to me all the time. How do you handle when people say, they never get it right? Weathermen never get it right.
You know, I'm used to it. I don't take it as personally anymore. What I do take personally is when people don't listen. So the thing, and I think it's even more so now, is we extract what we want to hear from the mediums that we listen to, or we go to the medium that gives us the information that we think we want to hear, but might not necessarily. So what I don't, you know, when I've told people all along that there's going to be some showers, and then, you know, they come back to me, I thought you said it was going to be a beautiful weekend. Like, can we go back to the tape? All day Friday, I told you, be careful. Saturday's going to be a wet day, we think. You know, keep listening. You know, that's the most frustrating. We are going to get it wrong. I mean, the atmosphere, I think sometimes the powers that be up above made at least weather unpredictable to a point that it can at least give us some interest in life. Because wouldn't it be boring if it was all the same and you knew exactly what was going to happen every day? I know some of us would like that in this controlled life of 2021, as we try to control our lives as much as possible. But I handle it okay now. I still take it personally because I'm invested in it as much as you are. I want to be outside. I want to do the things that I want to do, play disc golf, get in the garden, do the things that I want to do, go camping. And so, yeah, I'm as invested as you are. I think the other thing is we got to get over being so, what's the nice way to say this? We got to be getting over being so, like it's in a personal affront when the weather doesn't work out the way we'd like it to. Okay. And I'm getting tired of that. You know, that really bad Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, we acted like Memorial Day weekends are perfect in New England, especially.
I
don't know. Yeah. I mean, in New England, I know this really summer season doesn't get going to the 4th of July. I mean, the Memorial Day weekend can be kind of a throwaway weekend in some ways, but it's always because of the coolness of the water and those kinds of things. New England we have a shorter summer, real summer beach season. And so, you know, this idea, but then what was amazing was after that really Memorial Day weekend, then last weekend, it shot up to
gorgeous
summer-like levels again.
Yeah.
I think we're going to get something in between here, Peter, this weekend. It's not going to be great. It's not going to be hot. It's not going to be chilly and wet all weekend.
Right.
A little more unsettled, maybe a shower, thunderstorm, especially on Sunday, that kind of thing. But low to mid 70s versus upper 80s, low 90s.
There you go. Yeah, New England has to be one of the most challenging areas. I mean, you're on KMOX in St. Louis.
KMOX in St. Louis.
They must have totally different weather than New England.
Yeah, every place. So KMOX in St. Louis, I'll give you some tips. KMOX in St. Louis, it's really about the wind direction, right? If it's a southerly, southwesterly wind, it's hot and humid. Northerly wind, cooler, drier. they seem to hold on to showers and sprinkles longer than other places, similar situation as storms are leaving. These are all things I've come to know. Right. Chicago, News Radio 780 and 105.9 WBBM. The lakefront. So like New England, having that big body of water just to the east of us, with all its problems, Lake Michigan, the same thing, not as big a body of water, but certainly affect. Like today in Chicago, right along the lakefront in the loop there, if you've been to Chicago, right in where all the big buildings are, probably 77. You go out to O'Hare and it's almost 90. So, I mean, that's 10, and that's not a big difference. And we're seeing that more this time of year in the last few weeks, Cape and the coast versus the inland spots. There can be 10, 15.
I always told people to watch the news and look at the fine print, because it almost always says cooler coast.
Cooler at the coast, right? Which is, it's funny because I think, well, let me talk quickly. We'll finish the other thought. Detroit's just Detroit. Again, some water problems there with the lakes, Erie, St. Clair, and Huron. But they get clobbered with snow, and they get clobbered with storms too, just the way they are. And then New York City, Boston, and Providence, and Pittsburgh. I added Pittsburgh here in the last year or so. My friends on KDKA. The other interesting thing is all these iconic AM stations are getting FM partners now, right? So now my outro for KDKA is 100.1 FM, AM 1020 KDKA. So it's like all this extra verbiage. It's like, it's
by the time you identify where you are, you're out of time for the forecast.
Right. Yeah. I had stories about that. Yeah. Give us a 25-second cut. And the weather in that, and then the intro's 10 and the outro's 5, so you only have 6 seconds to talk or something.
You are on some pretty iconic those stations.
I am. I'm very for. I mean, these are the stations, Pete, that I listened to growing up as a kid under my pillow with the transistor radio. I had one of those square transistor radios that I would tune in and get KDKA and KMOX, WBZ, and listen to those stations.
See, radio geeks did all that stuff. We used to listen to those faraway stations.
Well, it was special. It was kind of like you had this little secret that you knew how to do something that other people didn't, right?
Hey, I picked up WLS in Chicago last night. Yeah. Cool.
The Loop.
And you and I talked before we started today about, what's up, the future of radio. I don't know what it's going to be. That's why I'm fortunate enough that, we've kind of gone into this YouTube world and podcasts, and we're seeing how that works. But I don't know what the future holds.
It's funny, Pete, when I got to AccuWeather 23 years ago, we were talking about convergence and synergy in media, where the lines would be blurred. And I think that's going even happening more quickly, the advancement of that, where it's really, I think, going forward, not as much about the frequency and the medium associated to a frequency or a delivery system, radio, television, but now it's media, now it's audio, now it's audio, video, and everything can be actually purposed over different things. I mean, we're doing audio and video via Zoom. I mean, people can just listen to the audio.
Yep.
They can suffer through My Perfect Face for Radio, whatever, if all of that. But I mean, all of that is kind of coming together. And so now to me, it becomes branding and brand names. So, I'm, again, very fortunate not to only work with radio stations, the actual physical radio station, but that brand, the 1010 Wins brand, the WBZ brand, the KMOX brand, the WBBM brand. So that brand now translates into radio, into Twitter, internet, Facebook, Instagram. All of these things become just different ways to get that information from that brand to people. And I think that's where we're going. I think people will still, kind of gravitate towards brands and styles of information and how it's distributed. And I still think, I know the management in radio and broadcasting wanted to downplay the importance of personality and presentation, but I'm seeing that it's still important to people because my brand of personality and information has actually done really well, if not better in some cases here of late on some of these stations, because it's really about people getting to know you and trusting what you're saying. You may understanding that you may make mistakes or whatever, but always knowing that you're trying to do the best. And I think that in the long run will win the day. How we get it to them, that's constantly evolving, and it may involve even more in the next 5 or 10 years that we don't even know about.
Right. One question, getting back to all the stations that you're on across the country, do you ever forget what city you're talking to?
more than I care to remember. I actually have been really, that's wood, good about, I don't think I've had a bad lockout in about 3 or 4 months.
And by lockout, he means when he comes to the end of the weather,
right? And I give the wrong station. Yeah. And what I have, and I will once in a while, maybe once a week or twice a week, I'll start down a way. I try not to read from the forecast as I'm doing it. A young lady who you may know, Valerie Geller.
Yes. I went to one of her workshops.
Yeah. Valerie and I got close. We used Valerie to talk to some of our broadcasters about how to tell stories, about what's important. And so, I mean, Valerie always wants me and people to tell a story, to be able to give that forecast without seeing it, what I did to you, which was I just kind of rattled off the New England forecast just because I'm feeling it and talking about it sounds much better than,
reading.
I mean, I can write a good forecast. I can write a good readable forecast that I think, folks can read multiple times, but as I'm giving it, they want a little bit more. Ben Meverak from 1010 Wins has been soliciting that from me over the last few years, getting more than just a recitation of today, tonight, tomorrow. Get and think about how people live. This morning we're taping this the day ahead, but yesterday morning, on Thursday morning, we had the eclipse situation. So, I mean, we had fun with that.
Yeah.
And so that's the other thing I see evolving, Pete, is some of these old stoic, very buttoned up radio stations are starting to unbutton a little bit, right?
Well,
Get a little bit. Go ahead.
When Dr. Joe Sobel was on with me before you joined us, he told me once that he looked forward to calling BSM because he had a chance to play everywhere else. Everywhere else they had to be. And the weather today, I'm Joe Sobel for.
Yeah, it's funny, but that's changing, and I think some of it too is. The listenership is changing. They don't necessarily want, they want all news and information all the time, but they want to be entertained a bit. They want to have a feeling of, and also a feeling, I think that feeling of family, just like, you and your son doing this together and everything. I think that comes across in the broadcast. And so we talk about the Wins family. We talk about the KMOX family. These are families that we're inviting people to kind of be part of us, learn from us, we learn from them. And so I think if that's the gain and the goal in the end, I think however we do it and however we broadcast, I think the good stuff will always come out.
Right. So what are your thoughts about the hurricane season here for New England?
Yeah, I mean, we got to keep an eye, especially later on. It looks like there is the opportunity for something to come up the coast. It is going to be active in terms of numbers. We're above average in the numbers in terms of total storms, interactions with the United States, major hurricanes. It's somebody said, is it going to be they always ask me, is it going to be a bad hurricane season? I go, well, a hurricane season isn't necessarily bad unless it hits you sometimes.
It only takes one.
Right. So everybody may have their different, but in terms of opportunities, I mean, last year we had a lot of named storms, but a lot of them were what we jokingly call fish storms. They weren't necessarily interacting with land. We'll see how that plays out. What not bothers me, what gives me a clue that things are going to get active is these major changes in the weather in terms of temperature and climate, where we, have these deep dives of really, really unseasonably cold air. That one that spawned that storm in December, the one that spawned the storm in February, the one that just spawned that awful Memorial Day weekend was a deep dive of unseasonably cold air. But then it doesn't stick around. It immediately reverses direction. And then we're going into that hot and humid stuff. And we saw that after those other storms. It warmed right back up after those incursions. So when you have those big changes, that tells me that there's places ripe. And one of the next week or two, I think something's going to bubble up in the Gulf, probably Western Gulf next week. We'll keep an eye on that. And then, we'll be getting into the time where we're watching close to the Carolinas and Florida coast and the Eastern Gulf Coast. And then by, I hate to rush my summer, but here we go. We're headlong already almost halfway through June. July into August, then we start looking at the wave train coming off of Africa and seeing if there's any of those long-term storms. Those are the storms we are most likely to get some interaction up here, the ones that track across and then come up and then kind of turn up along the eastern seaboard. Those are the ones that we kind of have to watch later in the season, I think.
All right. I have enjoyed this immensely. It's been great having you back to chat with. And if you don't mind, maybe we'll hook up again in a few weeks.
I have no problem with that, my friend. You're always welcome to be on my Zoom. That's for sure.
Dean DeVore, thank you so much for being with us. And how did I change my shirt so fast?
I know, right?
I don't know. It's a skill that I have.
It's a Hollywood trick.
Yeah. I know we're running late here, so do we have some chats?
Let's see. Justin said, great interview. Thank you. I really enjoyed that one. That one was really, I get to be, for certain interviews, I get to be the behind-the-scenes guy. So I'm just running the board. I'm being a good co-host, knowing when to shut up.
There you go. Yeah.
That's what it's all about. Abby also said, I swear we had 3 out of 4 seasons in one day this week.
She lives in
Mud
Vermont.
season being one of them.
Mud season?
Yep.
Yeah. She lives in Vermont, so I can imagine.
She also said, I find the science behind the weather so interesting.
Yeah.
That's so true. And that's why, like, the interview, I didn't really expect to be, like, I didn't really know what was going to happen from that interview. And, like, the whole time, I loved it.
See, for those of us that think the weather looks good.
Yeah.
There's a lot. In fact, I had a colleague who said that he went to college at Linden State, actually, up near where Abby lives. And he went to Linden State, and he wanted to be a weatherman, but there was too much math. Because there's so much math.
Maybe that's what I should have gone down. Maybe I screwed myself going with accounting. Maybe I should have gone with weather.
He would have been a meteorologist.
It's too late now. Now I'm a broke podcaster. Let's go. Living the dream. Living the dream.
By the way, if you are driving this weekend, all of our shows are on all of your podcast sources, I think. So
yes, they should be now. Yes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, a bunch of podcast apps I've never heard of, and I'm convinced are made up. But we're there, so we exist in the void that I've never heard of. Abby also said, I didn't send it in, but I have a Feel Good Friday story. My friend who is 32 had a stroke 2 years ago, was completely paralyzed on his right side, just started getting movement in his right leg.
Nice.
That's what I'm talking about.
All right. Yeah.
That's a great story there.
You got to keep at it. It's hard, but you got to keep going. All right, so I guess your plans for today are to pack all this up, right?
Well, I also have to cut the grass. I didn't get a chance yesterday, so I have to cut the grass, which I don't understand. They say that they would like the house to look good while we're not here, to which my response is, we're not here. Why does it matter?
Yeah, well,
but I got to cut the grass.
But any, like potential robber could say, "Oh, look at that yard. Hey, nobody's home there. I'm going to go check it out." So
I'm sure that's the the primary thing they look for is unkept yards.
This is one thing that really bugs me is that I used to love working in the yard. Now I know you don't like cutting the grass.
I hate cutting the grass.
I
despise it.
Yeah. I used to love it. I used to love to get out there. It was like my therapy, And then when I had my stroke, I couldn't do it. And now I think maybe I could do it. But, you're saying that, have you tried this new mower we have yet? It's low to the ground.
Here's the thing.
And my backyard is also kind of bumpy,
it's not a good idea for you to mow the lawn. Definitely not. But also, Trish bought a lawnmower that I swear she bought it because it's good for her to mow the lawn. It's at her height. and she's probably 1.5 feet shorter than me. So literally my back kills after I cut the grass. And before you say anything, I've looked up everything. You cannot adjust the height on it. I've tried. But yeah, no. So she bought it for herself when she never cuts the grass. I'm the one that does it. So I don't know why she did that. I don't know why I wasn't consulted before buying a new lawnmower. But yeah, since I hate it and he is so upset that he can't do it. He critiques me so much. Every time I'm like, I have to watch around him. I can't be like, oh, I don't like cutting the grass. He's like, well, I'll do it. I'll do it then. Anytime I'm like, hey, I can't. I don't have time to cut the grass today. I would have done it. Okay. It's like, hey, guy. It's a tough crowd over here. Everything I do for this
Are you
man.
Done?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, we're going to go on for about another hour.
He's probably not, yeah.
Yeah.
For me today, I get to go to physical therapy.
Oh, I forgot you have that today.
Yeah, good old PT.
But Trish is home, so I don't have to drive you.
That's what I call my physical terrorist. And, It's Tim Peterson over at Synergy.
You like Tim.
I like Tim.
Tim's your
a
friend.
Good guy,
yes.
So Tim and I talk about so much stuff while I'm doing the exercises. I don't realize I'm doing the exercises. You know?
Yeah.
We just get into
you guys are just hanging out. There you go. Peter Guy says, great show. Nice to see a face of a voice from the past.
Oh, Dean, yes. Dean DeVore.
Yeah.
That's great. And by the way, I don't think we mentioned Peter's wife, Marcia Guy, who I refer to as Mrs. Guy because she is a great elementary teacher in New Bedford. She went back to work today after hip replacement surgery.
Yes.
And
she's been out for 6 weeks.
6 weeks to the day, which is usually the diagnosis, I think. She went back to work today, so congratulations.
Gail says if you don't cut the grass before you go, it will be ridiculous to cut when you get back. That is true.
That's true.
But me, I try not to procrastinate in many aspects of life, but cutting the grass, I absolutely try to procrastinate. I don't enjoy cutting the grass.
Well, we'll see if he gets around to it.
I have to. I don't have a choice.
We leave you with this thought for the day today, and our thought is, don't let yesterday take up too much of today. Let it go.
Well, I'm regretting not cutting the grass yesterday because now I have to cut it today.
But let it go.
Okay.
Just get out and do it.
All right.
Have a great weekend, and we will talk to you next week from Virginia Beach.
Yes, sir. As long as I remember all the gear.
Yeah. Maybe we'll have one camera. You are doing a one-camera shoot,
I think so. It'll be easier.
All right. So we'll see you next week. Have a great weekend, and go out and make it a great day.
Yeah. Peace.